evening, everybody. Welcome to Astroscopes. I am Johnita Francis. I'm your host for a very quick 10 or so minutes while I explain what's going on in the world of astrology at the moment. Now, I popped up the transit, which means what all the planets are doing at the moment. So obviously on our natal charts, we get a picture, a freeze frame of where everything was, what the planets were doing, our asteroids, all those sorts of things that make up our blueprint. And we get those when we're born, and that's a picture of what's happening at that time. But obviously the planets and everything still keep moving. So we call those transits when that happens. So I actually had a look and I pulled up today's transits, which was very, very interesting because if you follow me on my own page, I actually put a post up this morning that says, "That's it, I'm not peopling today and you can't make me." I just felt like the energy was different today. So I was actually really surprised when I had a look at today's transits because I'm a Libra Aries rising and my moon is in Pisces. And strangely enough, today's transits are Sun in Libra, Aries rising, and moon in Pisces, which is, I should have been having a good day, but I did not. But it's Friday night. Life is good. We're all surviving. So what I wanted to talk to you about is, now your natal chart is in a circle, okay? So picture a dinner plate and make it into quadrants. But that way, Spirit is going to muck around because they've been trying to get my attention. So that's what the flickering of the camera is all about. So we've got the top part of your natal, okay, or the top part of any chart is an outward focus. So what's happening outwardly, not inward, it's an outward focus. And then we've got the me side, which is the eastern hemisphere, and the we side, which is the western. So we western, the easiest way to remember it is the western side. So the me side is all about ourselves, what we're doing, how we're coping with things, and the we side is how we're interacting with others, okay? Now, interestingly enough, and which is why I only noticed or talked about the northern hemisphere, is all of our planets currently in this transit in the outward focus. So what it's all about for everyone else, how we're interacting with everyone else. We've got some on the me side and some on the we side. Notable mentions for this would be that Chiron is in Aries at the moment. Okay, so Chiron is a planet of wounds and healing. And when it's in Aries, it means that we're finding our voice. Now, it's in the 12th house. So some things are just going to pop out. You think, oh, shit, did I say that? Did I mean to say it? Is it the right thing to say? Just go with it. Because Mercury and Venus are both in Scorpio at the moment. And they're in the 7th house, which is the house of relationships. So things need to be said to clear the air, okay? Now, Chiron is almost directly opposite Venus. It's pretty bloody close. And when we mean opposite, it means it's, opposing. So it's been a little bit of a challenge, but not as much as a square where you're squaring up like we learnt last week. So that is in itself is a very interesting placement because it means that we are finding our voice, and some things that we'd rather keep to ourselves or some things that we normally would keep to ourselves are actually going to start coming out a bit more, okay? In our work section, which is the house number 6, we've got our Sun, which is in Libra, and also our Mars, which is in Libra. So things are going to be, our relationships and our ambition and drive is going to be tested somewhat there, okay? Look for the balance. It's right on the descendant where the Sun is at the moment. So you're feeling a little bit flat or low, or you don't feel like you're getting things out, just go with it, okay? The best thing about transits are they're not going to last forever. What else can I tell you about this chart? We've got Pluto. Damn you, Pluto. You've screwed me already. It's only the 11th of October. I hate you, Pluto. Pluto is obviously a transformational planet. And I go kicking and screaming every time. It's actually right up there, right on the midheaven. Now, midheaven is about our careers and that sort of stuff. And the 9th house is about philosophy. So we're really starting to think things differently. So with that, our Venus and our Mercury in Scorpio, our relationships getting a bit of a prod, and with our Mars coming through, our ambition and drive. Also the house of sacrifice or the house of secrets, which is the 12th house, Chiron's getting a bit of a boost from Aries, really finding the way to find our voices. These things work in great balance. It's all about, as you would have noticed when we spoke about it before, the me and the we side, that balancing, how you interact, and knock it off, guys, how you interact with ourselves and each other, and what we're learning along the way, and how we interpret what people are doing to us, or how we feel that people are doing things to us. So it's a lot going on, especially when it's an outward focus. So it really is all about our interactions with others, what we're doing with others. Notable mention, we've got moon in Pisces, which is my moon. I have a moon in Pisces. I love that placement. Most people think that it is either a curse or a blessing. I absolutely think it's a blessing. Mine is in the 12th house though, so I like to keep things a bit under check and under guard. I'm very private like that. But this is in the 11th house, or it's transiting through the 11th house, which is the house of friendships. So it means that some things, turn to your friends. When shit's hitting the fan with Pluto banging on your Capricorn like that, it wants to be at the top of the food chain, and you've got, Scorpio energy coming in, Plutonic energy coming in. You've got a square forming as well. So the sun is being in square at the moment. Sun is squaring off in a big way, which means that it will get challenged. Where is Saturn? There we go. Okay, so it's going to form a square to Saturn, which means that house of the structure. Okay, the structure and how we view our structure, what we find stability in, is going to be challenged. And then we're finding this voice that we need to get out. Okay, so when shit hits the fan and you're just not having a really good week at all, turn back to your friendship, turn back to your circle of trust and your circle of, unity, where you get your support from. That could be friends, that could be friends that became family, that could be a family unit. So friendships is not necessarily your mate, okay? It's about how we interact with our friendships and what our friendships mean to us. So all in all, I think we're getting there at a slow rate. The planets that are causing probably the most unrest to us really they're slower moving planets, so they're outer planets, okay? So that's all your big ones on the outside, not your close ones, not your personal planets. I think Chiron's going to stay in Aries now for, I don't know, what is it, 2020, about 8 years. I think it's just only come out of Pisces. So that's a really good time for people to start to find their voice. I know that I like my Chiron. It's in Taurus. It's a shit placement if you want to have any sort of decent relationship with a father-like figure. Okay, that sort of comes later in life if you're a natal to Chiron in a Taurus. But this being Chiron in Aries, a lot of people will find their voice. A lot of people will be able to get things off their chest once and for all. And even though these are pretty tough, challenging sorts of placements that we're having, there's some beautiful, there's a couple of trines in there that just set us up nicely. They really are. So you've got a trine going now. A trine means, it's stronger. So it works in conjunction. So that triangles and the triangle shape is a very strong forming shape. So they're supporting. It's a supporting. So Mercury is in support of Moon. So that's a good thing because we want to be able to allow our emotions to come to the forefront, and we want it to do it in a nice way. Okay, we don't want to upset people along the way, but we do actually have to be heard in this process as well. So what else can I tell you? A bit of true nodes in Cancer. Great. Okay, so perhaps family are going to test you a bit. What is a big notable mention though is we've got like your quadruplicities and your triplicities. Okay, so your cardinal, fixed, mutable. Cardinal is a bit action. Fixed is, fixed just speaks for itself. Mutable has got a bit of flexibility. Okay, depends on the circumstance, depends on who's asking to. And then you've got your fire, air, earth, and water. So most of our planets at the moment are in cardinal. So we want to move forward. We want to do things. We want to get things done. But it's getting our point across, being able to be heard, being able to choose our words so we are being heard. That's what's happening for a universal thing at the moment. It is a lot high emotions for a lot of people. Because your Mercury is up there. It's, it's kind of sitting opposite Chiron somewhat. Your Venus is up there sitting across from Chiron. Where's Chiron in this little, I'm having a little look. Yeah, so it just wants to, yeah, actually Chiron's sitting straight across from this opposing Mars as well. So this is really, it's now or never if you want to clear the air with a lot of things, okay? Choose your words. Remember that Mercury being in Scorpio can be a bit bitey. They can be a bit vengeful. So make sure that you're doing the right things at the right time for the right reasons, okay? Don't just do them out of spite or because someone pissed you off once upon a time, and now's the time because you're finding your voice and you want everyone to have it. So, yeah, I think all in all, we'll get through this. When Pluto finishes having a personal vendetta against me, whatever, bring it on. No, that was not a challenge. That was me trying to be egotistical and me bowing out because I realized that I am fruitless against the planets and what they can do and how they can make people behave. Look, I think that that's pretty much all the notable mentions. If you want your personal astrology reading, now do remember that this is what the transits are. So society, what everybody is going through, how your own chart is set up, and how these planets and how these aspects of the current transit bounce off and either support or piss off your own chart, your own aspects in your chart, will be the individual thing that sets you apart, okay? So whilst the sun is in Libra and Aries is rising, the moon is in Pisces, and they've got them lovely placements that, you know, will work beautifully with my placements, working in conjuncts, those sorts of things. Mars is working in conjunction with, they can still be tough placements, but it's an individual thing. So if something that I said tonight rings true to you, then perhaps you've got planets that are aspected in a similar way or that are supported in what the transits are doing. If you're going, oh my God, she's full of shit, then obviously all your planets are different. You might have an inward focus at the moment, or your planets might be in a second or the first quadrant, and you're not feeling it as much. You're a bit more aware, or you might be a bit more introverted, okay? So astrology is very, very, I want to put it out there because I love astrology so much, but I also am very mindful of the fact that it's very individual. It's not a one fixed solution for a lot of people, okay? So if you want a personal reading or you want me to do your chart, I do specials for Spiritual Embedded Directory only. You need to tell me that when you book, otherwise it can get quite expensive for you, and that will come along with a 30-minute channel reading and also interpretation of your chart, your natal chart. Now, if you've moved more than 150 kilometers away from where you were born, I would highly recommend that you tell me that, and then we can do your relocator chart, because the relocator chart will give you more of the energy that you influence under in your new location, okay? So we can work that in conjunction with, and there's no additional cost for having a relocator chart. So don't let that put you off, because it's all part of understanding the different complexities and different layers of our personality. And I want you to love astrology as much as I do. So I really want people to have astrology as more mainstream modality that we use, as opposed to something that, you know, you only go to a certain style of person, or it feels like it's too hard for you to get your head around, or we read things in isolation, stereotypical traits of individual planets or individual signs, you know, like all Gemini to this, all Libra to that. That's not that simplistic. It's really not. So if you ever want to see me lose my top big time, you know, watch me when I see one of those posts on Facebook about, oh no, Susan, you're just a Scorpio, because it's impossible. No Scorpios are going to be the same. They're going to have similarities, but they're not going to be the same because of all the other things that are going on in their charts. So hopefully you got something out of tonight's chat and I haven't bored you to death. I'm trying to put it not in my normal nerd terms, but as we get further along with Astroscopes, I want to start bringing in some other things as well, and obviously I want to start looking at some people sending in their charts that we can perhaps pop up on the screen, share the screen, and have a look at it and see some really cool things in other people's charts, which is which is when the real fun's at, when we start to actually understand what all these things mean. So if you're interested, let me know. Other than that, enjoy your Friday night, no matter what you're doing. We are due for some really big, heavy rains. So if that is you or you need rains, please let me know, and I will do my little rain dance outside and make sure that it comes over to your way as well. We certainly have a lot of drought in Australia at the moment. So yeah, thank you very much for tuning in to Astroscopes. I'll just have a quick look and see if anyone's made any comments, because I haven't seen them. Oh, hello people. Hey everybody. That's really cool. Thank you. Thank you all for coming. That's I actually had it closed over so I could see my chart, so I could tell you what was going on. So that's really cool. Thank you very much for taking time out on your Friday night. There's a lady, Dee, done. Anything positive in your future? Dee, I'm not doing live readings tonight, my love. I'm just doing the Astroscopes. If you like the live readings, you can come back on Thursday night at 6 p.m. Sydney time in Australia, and I do the live readings at that point, my darling. So not tonight, back then, or you can also book a reading with me, whatever takes your fancy. You're a Pisces dragon. Born the year. Okay, so what this means for everybody, I'll just have a little look, is Pisces, so she's referring to a sun sign, so that's a stereotypical thing, so it's almost impossible for me to work out what that sort of means in astrology terms, because it's a sun sign in isolation. So there'll be another 7 planets plus asteroids and everything else that makes up the blueprint that creates D. And then she's nominating that she's a dragon. So not only is she a dragon, which is a Chinese horoscope, okay, so they have different 12 animals that look after, and then they rotate like our zodiacs rotate, so do the Chinese. But dragons, you can have your 4 elements of that as well. So in my case, and they'll all create different, they'll all be different. So my husband's a metal pig and I'm a fire snake. So if you do your 3 big ones, which is your sun, which I'm assuming is Pisces, you find out what your moon is and your rising. That'll give you a little bit more of a picture of who you are, how you interact with others, and the face that you put on for others, okay, or the outward personality that you're comfortable in showing first. And the dragon, of course, will also depend on your element. So, yeah, very cool. Thanks for sharing that, Dee. Gives a bit more insight as to Eastern and Western horoscopes, but it is very stereotypical. So, yeah, excellent. Oh, Leanne, just sneaking in. I love it when people are naughty and they sneak. That's so cool. All right, guys, thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming along. That's really cool. I had to expand it, but I didn't want to not have the chart up and give you some accurate information of what's going on at the moment. So, yeah, have a lovely Friday night. Once again, thank you very much for your time. Take care. See you next Friday night.